Caitlin Clark to the New York Liberty? Confirmed? You guys? The photo circulating went viral of Caitlin Clark in the bowels of the Barclays Center with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and Brianna Stewart.
The basketball world is in a frenzy, and for good reason. What seemed like a harmless post-game tunnel conversation has now spiraled into one of the hottest stories in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark, the rising superstar guard still signed with the Indiana Fever, was recently seen in what many are calling a private and intentional meeting with New York Liberty's biggest names, Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, along with head coach Sandy Brondello. What was first brushed off as a casual moment is now fueling intense speculation across the WNBA community.
Well, we're going to talk about this little scene that took place after the Fever game last night in New York between Sandy Brondello and Caitlin Clark, the New York Liberty, and the agent. The agent. That is what makes this so interesting.
But this wasn't just a typical exchange between athletes. Standing right there in the middle of it all was Caitlin Clark's agent, Aaron Kane. His presence turned what might have seemed like harmless small talk into something much bigger, something that has WNBA fans everywhere wondering the same thing. Could the face of women's basketball already be plotting her move out of Indiana?
And many people is insinuating that Caitlin Clark could be trying to plan the outs of Indiana. Yes. People is already saying that Caitlin Clark could be trying to get the hell out of Indiana.
Following the Liberty's dominant 98-77 victory over the Indiana Fever on Wednesday night, something highly unusual unfolded in the tunnel at Barclays Center. Although Caitlin Clark was sidelined for the game due to a lingering groin injury, she still traveled with the team to New York. That choice alone sparked plenty of questions. But what happened afterward is what truly set the basketball world on fire.
A WNBA team that have been very, very, very much in, they made it clear that they want Caitlin Clark, or they're eventually going to want Caitlin Clark. Along those lines, they made it very, very clear. And that team is the New York Liberty. And today, we have just seen the New York Liberty players, after the game, meeting up with Caitlin Clark. It is Stewie, it is Sabrina Ionescu, there is Sandy Brondello. And by the way, Stewie is not leaving New York the rest of her career. That is one thing that I will be 199.
Caitlin Clark and her agent, Aaron Kane, were seen engaged in what looked like a private and focused conversation with Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello, along with star players Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The scene didn't feel accidental. It felt intentional and carefully planned. This wasn't just a random run-in behind the scenes. It was a clear and purposeful meeting involving a player, her agent, and one of the most respected organizations in all of women's basketball.
New York Liberty sent the blitz. Sandy, Sap, and Stewie are all talking to Caitlin Clark in the tunnel. So my guess is this right here happened at the conclusion of the game. This, my friends, is currently going viral all over social media right now. That is Caitlin Clark immediately after the game. Now, what's crazy is that her team lost the damn game, but Caitlin is all smiles. She's all smiles.
The interaction between Clark and the Liberty players was lighthearted, with smiles all around. A moment that quickly went viral and sparked immediate speculation about the nature of their conversation. For someone who's battled plenty of on-court adversity throughout her career, seeing Caitlin Clark looking so at ease with the Liberty's top leadership was a refreshing sight for her fans, but likely a cause for concern among Indiana Fever supporters.
This is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded. A player eventually marks their next destination. The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is happening.
If you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe. Now, let's be honest about what's really going on in Indiana. The Fever came into the 2025 season full of confidence, launching their bold "Now You Know" campaign with championship expectations. They brought in veteran talent like Wnba and Natasha Howard, believing these experienced players could help build a title contender around their rising superstar. But the harsh truth? The Fever are currently sitting at 12-11, still searching for their true identity. Injuries have been a constant obstacle, with Caitlin Clark missing 11 games this season due to multiple setbacks. Even when she's been on the court, consistency has been hard to find. Some nights, the Fever look like legitimate contenders, and the next, they're getting blown out by teams they should easily handle.
I say, imagine getting on national TV, being paid by ESPN, paid by CBS, and have the nerve to look at the viewing public, lie to them, and say the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. I'm curious, are those same people going to be on TV this evening, tomorrow morning? Are they going to look in the camera and double down on the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin?
From the very beginning, the way Indiana has handled Caitlin Clark's situation has raised a lot of questions. The Wnba even launched an investigation into alleged fan misconduct at a Fever game. But in the end, no credible evidence was found. The league's treatment of Indiana's fan base, the same fans responsible for breaking records in both viewership and attendance, has been, at best, completely out of touch. At the same time, head coach Stephanie White's approach has been clear. She's trying to force Clark to adapt to her system, rather than designing a system around one of the most gifted players women's basketball has ever seen. That's not just questionable coaching. When you're working with the league's most marketable star, some would call that a serious mistake.
I think the obvious issue is Stephanie White is so stubborn to fit a circle in a square peg instead of utilizing the strengths of the team. And she probably felt relief because Caitlin Clark was hurt that, oh, this is my time. I could introduce the culture and the system. And some actually bought in. And then when Caitlin Clark comes back, she doesn't know how to use her.
Now, let's take a look at how Indiana's struggles compare to what's happening in New York. The Liberty aren't just the reigning WNBA champions. They've built a franchise designed to dominate for years to come. With a powerhouse core of Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Jonquel Jones, they've already assembled what many would call a super team. Head coach Sandy Brondello is no stranger to winning. She's a proven leader, a two-time WNBA champion, and someone who knows exactly how to get the best out of her players. Her coaching philosophy is simple but effective. Put her stars in positions to succeed rather than forcing them into rigid systems. Beyond coaching, the Liberty's roster construction is far superior to Indiana's. They've surrounded their stars with veterans and role players who understand their responsibilities. Natasha Cloud brings leadership and elite defense. Leonie Febick adds international versatility and flair. And even their depth pieces like Kennedy Burke and Maureen Johannes contribute valuable championship experience. But what truly sets New York apart is the culture they've built. Breanna Stewart has been vocal about instilling a championship mindset in this team. And it's clear that mentality runs throughout the entire organization. They're not just chasing a single title. They're laying the foundation for a dynasty.
But the Liberty have shown her love. We've seen that as a bit of a theme. There was the moment between Stewie and Clark when Clark came back from injury the first time. And then there were some nice words. I missed the moment myself of them posted up there for a second. But there were some nice words from Liberty coach Sandy Brondello that I did capture. And I thought they were...
Now, just imagine Caitlin Clark running the point for a team already built around Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. That offense would be nothing short of poetry in motion. Clark's elite court vision and passing skills would unlock even more opportunities for Stewart's versatile scoring and Ionescu's deadly shooting from beyond the arc. The offensive firepower would be unlike anything the WNBA has ever witnessed. But this isn't just about what happens on the court. The Liberty operate in the nation's biggest media market, backed by ownership that fully understands the power of star talent. Clara Wu Tsai and Joe Tsai, who also own the Brooklyn Nets, have made it clear they're committed to building a championship-caliber organization. They've invested heavily in facilities, coaching, and player development in ways most other WNBA franchises simply haven't matched. And let's not forget, the Liberty play at Barclays Center, one of the premier sports arenas in the world. The fan experience in Brooklyn is on a completely different level compared to what Clark has been used to in Indianapolis. This is an organization that's built a culture where players want to come, and where stars are set up to thrive. From a basketball standpoint, the fit would be seamless. Clark's strengths would complement New York's established core perfectly. She's a generational-level playmaker who elevates everyone around her. Pair that with proven scorers like Stewart and Ionescu, and the offensive possibilities become almost impossible to guard. The three-point shooting alone would be a nightmare for defenses. Imagine trying to stop a team that can legitimately score from anywhere on the floor.
I think there is a 50-50 chance Caitlin Clark leaves Indiana after her rookie season. No, after rookie season, after rookie contract is up. Because I have a feeling that with all the restricted free agency and everything, I think they're going to try to get rid of all coring out of the CBA. I don't think coring is going to be a thing. I don't think coring is going to be a thing in the CBA. And obviously, look, you're going to have to core players. And they're going to have to core Aaliyah a year earlier than Caitlin. And if they're scared Aaliyah's going to leave, and if they're like, oh, we want to core and trade Caitlin, then Aaliyah leaves for nothing. And Caitlin leaves for nothing. So it's a bit of a weird one.
You can bet the WNBA league office is feeling a bit uneasy about the idea of Caitlin Clark potentially landing in New York. The league has worked hard to create competitive balance, but a trio of Clark, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu would be on an entirely different level. This wouldn't just be another strong contender. They'd instantly become overwhelming favorites to win it all. Just think about it. Clark already led the league in assists as a rookie, while also being one of the top scorers. Stewart is a two-time champion and a former MVP, known for her versatility and ability to play nearly any position on the floor. Ionescu is a sharp-shooting three-point specialist who already holds multiple league records. Adding Clark to that mix would almost guarantee the Liberty a spot in the WNBA Finals for years to come. For other teams, it might feel like they're competing for second place. But here's the twist. The WNBA might quietly be rooting for this to happen. Having a superstar like Clark in New York would generate enormous media attention and bring even more viewers to the league. The Liberty's games would become must-watch events, boosting ratings and revenue across the board. Sometimes, a dominant team is exactly what a league needs to capture the attention of the mainstream sports world.
Many people is insinuating. They're insinuating that Caitlin Clark could be trying to get the hell out of Indy. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. Your boy John Liquidator definitely want her to get out of Indy, bro. And it's this photo right here that is really heating up. I mean, this one right here is really breaking the bank, bro. Look, Sandy Bordello got her hand all on Caitlin, bro.
The obvious question hanging over this situation is whether the Liberty's interaction with Caitlin Clark could be considered tampering under WNBA rules. The league has clear guidelines in place when it comes to teams communicating with players who are still under contract with other franchises. Violations can lead to serious consequences, including hefty fines, the loss of draft picks, or other disciplinary actions. However, the line between casual conversation and tampering isn't always so black and white. Players, coaches, and staff interact with each other all the time. It's part of the game. But what raises eyebrows here is the involvement of Clark's agent, which makes the situation feel a little more calculated. Still, without audio or concrete evidence of actual recruitment talks, proving tampering becomes nearly impossible. A simple tunnel conversation without proof of intent likely won't be enough for the league to step in and take action. That said, the optics aren't great for the WNBA. Seeing a star player and her agent casually meeting with key figures from a rival organization right after a game sends a message, and it's not a good one. It hints that some players and agents are already looking ahead to future opportunities, even while under contract.
It's a weird situation, but you can see, and this is one of the more important things. You see this right here? You see this right here? This is Caitlin's agent. This is Caitlin Clark's agent. So Caitlin Clark's agent is involved in, meeting up with or in this meeting, whatever it is, whether it's a meeting or just a chat, Caitlyn's agent is there. That's her freaking agent. Looks like it. CC to Liberty, CC to...
On the surface, the relationship between Caitlin Clark and head coach Stephanie White has been portrayed positively by the media. But if you look closer, there are clear signs of underlying tension. White has consistently emphasized trying to fit Clark into her system, rather than shaping the system around Clark's once-in-a-generation talent. For a player like Clark, that's a fundamental misstep. White's coaching philosophy prioritizes ball movement and equal opportunity offense, which sounds good in theory, but it doesn't fully capitalize on what makes Clark so special. Clark thrives when the ball is in her hands, creating plays for her teammates and taking control of games when it matters most. White's comments about protecting Clark's peace and helping her navigate all of this suggest she views Clark as someone who needs to be carefully managed, rather than someone who should be unleashed to play freely. For a player of Clark's caliber, that's simply the wrong approach. Now, compare that to Sandy Brondello's track record. Throughout her career, she's coached legends like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, players who weren't just handed the ball, but were given the freedom and trust to take over games. Brondello's philosophy has always been about putting her stars in positions to succeed, not forcing them into restrictive systems.
If Stephanie White believes that this team is better with Ari McDonald in, blah, 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 if she shares the same views as Carolyn Peck, you fire her on the spot. I don't care if she is an Indiana Fever alum. You fire her on the spot. And anybody else in the organization that shares that same belief set. I mean, these Stephanie White truthers, no surprise, she checks boxes, and they're the old WNBA fandom that thinks Stephanie White's getting a raw deal right now. It's so obvious she don't know what she's doing. She don't know what she's doing with this.
Let's be real about the difference between playing in Indianapolis and playing in New York. While Indiana has fully embraced Caitlin Clark and the Fever, it's still considered a small market when compared to the bright lights of New York City. The Liberty operate in the largest media market in the country, with access to sponsorships, endorsement deals, and media exposure on a level that simply doesn't exist in Indiana. For a player like Clark, already the most marketable star in the WNBA, market size matters. Moving to New York wouldn't just elevate her profile, it would multiply her earning potential by millions through endorsement opportunities alone. On top of that, the Liberty have invested heavily in top-of-the-line facilities and elite coaching staff. Their commitment to winning is clear in everything they do. A potential move to New York wouldn't just impact Clark, it would shake up the entire WNBA. It would create a super team so stacked with talent that it would leave the rest of the league scrambling to keep up. The implications for competitive balance would be massive. The Liberty would essentially become the Golden State Warriors of the WNBA, a team so loaded with talent, they'd enter every game as the clear favorite to win.
I think this is really bad what's going on with Caitlin Clark. I'm really concerned as a fan, as a basketball fan. I'm really concerned. I hope it's not serious. I hope it was just a little strain and she just needs rest. I just hope it's minor. We don't know what's going on, but man, imagine if Caitlin Clark misses the whole entire All-Star game. Wow. That could be a possibility. If that happens, this is nothing but Kathy Engelbert's fault. You got these garbage refs that don't protect the players. You allow players do what they want to do. You don't.
The reaction from fans has been immediate and overwhelming. Supporters of Caitlin Clark are excited at the thought of her potentially joining a team that's already built to compete for championships. After watching her battle through injuries and inconsistent performances from the Fever, many simply want to see her in a system where she can truly shine. On the other side, Liberty fans are ecstatic at the possibility. Adding Clark to their already stacked roster would create a team capable of dominating the league for years to come. The energy and excitement around the franchise would reach an entirely new level. Meanwhile, Fever fans are in full panic mode. The organization has built its entire identity around Clark, and losing her would be nothing short of devastating. Caitlin Clark's reputation speaks for itself. She brings championships, playoff success, and a leadership style that elevates everyone around her. Head coach Sandy Brondello's coaching philosophy aligns perfectly with Clark's game. Brondello has always been a player-first coach, known for adapting her system to fit her stars, rather than forcing players into roles that don't match their strengths. If Clark were to join the Liberty, it's almost certain Brondello would craft a system that fully maximizes Clark's elite playmaking and court vision. On top of that, the Liberty boast a coaching staff that's far more experienced than Indiana's. Their assistants have worked with championship-level rosters and understand exactly what it takes to succeed at the highest level.